Let's talk about assignment number 2. Assignment number 2, you are going to be doing some nutrition and activity tracking. You have 1 month to do this, so lots of time. This is due on March 4th, which is also a Friday. So lots of time to worry about this. And I would recommend maybe not doing it right away. Let us get through a few more lectures before you do so, but you can do it at any time. And maybe your analysis part, you can beef up after we talk about proteins and lipids. And so you can see basically what you're being asked to do is record your eating and physical activities for 3 days. You're going to use a tool called MyFitnessPal. There are literally hundreds of tools out there, and I was hoping to hand this out a little earlier, but the tool that I wanted to use, it turns out, is no longer a thing anymore. They've discontinued it, and I was trying to find something that was just as good and fit certain criteria around the assignment. One of the criteria was I wanted a tool that could be used online and on an app. And here's the thing, there's a lot of fitness and nutrition trackers that are app only and there's no website, or there's others that are the other way around, website only and no app. I also wanted something that had the ability to print out certain types of reports. And this seemed to sort of fit some of those criteria. I think there are better ones, but this one's not bad and it's relatively easy to use. So I want to talk about this assignment and show you MyFitnessPal and a little bit about what you're going to be doing. So there's 3 parts to the assignment, by the way. This is going to be worth 15 marks, so 15% of your grade. And the first part is completing the 3-day tracking using MyFitnessPal. There's a worksheet to complete that has a bunch of blanks. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you're going to basically have a critical response kind of paper, 2 pages max. So it's not going to be a massive paper. So let's take a look at this, this MyFitnessPal. And I'm going to go to the website. I do have a getting started guide on Moodle that shows you the steps for going through and adding food and whatnot. And I have both the website option and the app option. And I imagine most people will be using one or the other or a little bit of both. You are going to have to use the website at some point at the very end to at least get your diaries. But I'm assuming most people will probably be using the app for their daily addition to their diaries. And so let's go in and we'll take a look at MyFitnessPal. Let's click on this and I gotta share the screen here. So here it is, and you can, if you have an account already, great. If not, you'll have to sign up, and it's going to ask you a few questions. It's going to ask you, what your height and weight is. So if you don't know your height and weight, you can maybe make that one of your goals in the near future. I know not everybody has a scale at home. I do not have a scale at home, but they do have scales at the Sports Wellness Center at the college. They're in the change rooms, and I believe they have one upstairs near the fitness center as well. So you can weigh yourself on that, and you can weigh yourself in whatever units you like, kilograms or pounds, it doesn't really matter. You can input either of them into MyFitnessPal. So once you set up your account, like I said, it's going to ask you lots of questions, like it might ask you if you're wanting to lose weight or gain weight, and you can answer those. If you want to answer them honestly, great. If you don't want to answer them honestly, that's fine. I'm not going to be looking at people, and your data will not be shared with anybody in terms of this assignment. I'm not going to be judging anybody. If you have 3 days you're tracking, and those are the 3 days where you're binge eating, but that's not your normal habit, not a big deal. This is 3 days. It does not represent your life. I will not be judging anybody on this. If you don't want to be honest, that's fine as well, but you do need to do the analysis either way. If you want to punch in for 3 days an ideal diet and analyze that, that's okay too. But the more honest you are, probably the more you're going to get out of it in terms of for your own purposes. So let's log into this. Okay, so I'm logged in. There's my tab. Uh-oh. This is the home tab. Okay, so there's a bunch of tabs here, right? About. So I encourage you to take a little bit of time to take a look at what all this service has to offer. A free account is good enough for this class, by the way. But if you're interested in a premium account, they're talking about here's the difference between a free membership, free. They're emphasizing that, but you can always check on what a premium membership is going to give you. And if this is something that you're interested in the long run, then maybe go for it, or maybe go for another service out there. There's so many of these out there nowadays. So the area I want to focus on is this here, food and exercise. So let's go to food. I'll click on that. And you can see that there's a food database. You can search for anything you want. So let's see here. We can search for, let's go for Fruit Loops. Why not? Click on Fruit Loops. And so you can see there's Kellogg's Fruit Loops. There's a few different options. Sometimes there's name brands and generic brands and things like that. Kellogg's is usually the one I think people eat. It's giving you some nutrition information and those kind of things, right? And so you can look up any food and get some information out of it. So that's kind of one of their services. What we're going to do is use this food tab, and we're going to use this food diary. Somebody says there is an app too, and they find it easy to use. Yeah, so you can use either. I'm just showing you the website. Like I said, I imagine most people are going to use the app to add their food. It's super easy to use. So food diary, I can click over here. You can see there's 3 meals. And so, start one day and go breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks kind of thing. So today, for example, I've had breakfast, and I can add my food. And like I said, I already know what I had for breakfast because I was thinking a lot about it because of this assignment. And you can see I've actually have it entered there. So there's some of my, there's some other foods that are down there. But this morning I had pumpernickel toast. I was searching for a variety of things. You can see some of the things that I searched for down there are already listed. Looks like I'm eating a lot of Slim Fast apparently, but I was searching it up because I was kind of curious about some of these products. I did not eat any Slim Fast today, but I had pumpernickel toast. So we'll search up pumpernickel toast, and you can see there's a few different options here, and basically pick the one that you think is maybe the best option that kind of describes best what you ate. Sometimes they'll give you the exact food you had. Other times, like the pumpernickel bread I had was from Superstore, right? So I don't know exactly what's in it, but I'm going to select this one here. And when I looked at the package of pumpernickel bread, I only had 1 slice, but it said that 2 slices were 180 calories. So I had 1 slice, and you can see if I click 1 slice here, that's apparently 80 calories. So I can adjust the serving. Maybe I can try 1.1. Again, this is, hit enter, and it already added it for me. Maybe I've already go back to that previous slide. Oh no. All right, food diary. I'll just add in another pumpernickel toast. How about we do that? So pumpernickel toast, I can click on that there. Like I said, play around with this, and you'll see that there's all sorts of different functions in there. So there's my pumpernickel toast. So I'm estimating maybe 1.1 servings in there, we'll say. So they're saying 1 slice. You can change the servings to grams. I know some people who are trying to lose weight have scales at home and things like that. Maybe you think the slice is smaller, a snack size slice, and so on. So you can play around with these kind of quantities, and you can hit add food, or you can hit enter. And that will add it to the diary. So you can see there's my food there, added to the diary. So apparently I had 1 very snack-sized slice and 1 normal slice. And it's telling me that I've had 107 calories so far, and giving me a breakdown on some of these other nutrients, which I'll talk about in a minute. So don't forget, if you've added, if you've had food like bread, that you probably also had butter. So in this case here, well, I don't even know what a pat is. Let's say I probably didn't have quite a tablespoon of butter. Maybe I had a little bit less than a tablespoon of butter. Let's call it 0.75 tablespoons of butter. There we go. And we can add the checked. So don't forget everything that you had. And I guess I could add another thing here. Let's say I had some Earl Grey tea. Now you'll notice for Earl Grey tea, 0 calories, but I'm going to add it anyway, because you never know. Some of these things have 0 calories. I don't see the brand I had. I had Tetley Earl Grey tea, and maybe let me see if I search Tetley, if it has it in there. I don't know how to spell Tetley. That's the question. It does. Earl Grey green tea, Earl Grey Tetley tea. There we go. I'm going to add that. And how much? I definitely had more than 175 mils. So maybe we'll call that 1.5 servings because it was a large cup of Earl Grey tea. Anyway, there's my breakdown so far. So you're gonna basically record all this stuff over 3 days is what you're gonna do. And so part one, you can also do exercise as well. And notice there's cardiovascular and strength training. And if you do any exercise or if you've even done any walking or anything like that, please do add it in. And it's gonna keep a tally of this kind of thing. But the main focus for this exercise is going to be more the food than the exercise, but there are some questions around the exercise. So here's my food diary here. Now, what I want you to do for this is go over to settings, and I purposely had this changed, but what you want to do is basically show how much, let's see here, it was protein, I want fat, carbohydrates, so you can change in the settings, the things that are shown, and I think I wanted fiber in there as well. Something seems to be missing. I'm just going to quickly pull up my assignment sheet and see what I wanted in there. All right, it says here we want carbohydrates, fat, protein, fiber, and sugar. How did I miss something there? Carbohydrates, I'll put those right in order. Carbohydrates, fat, oh, I have calcium in there instead, okay. Protein, and sugar, there we go. So you can change what's actually displayed. I really wish it would actually show everything that's displayed, but this is just in the settings, by the way. So I'm changing everything that's displayed. I can hit save changes, and I'll go back to my food diary. So food and food diary. Now here it is, and I would love to be able to just print this off as it is, but when I tried to print this off, it turned into this garbled mess. So I recommend what you do when you're ready to print off your food diaries, because that'll be part of the assignment, is you go down here to the bottom. Notice you can add water consumption as well. I'm not asking anything about water consumption, but if you want to track it, please go ahead. It'll be part of the report. But you can click View Full Report, right? And so you can see there's my report, right, for February 4th, which is today so far. So obviously, if I did the whole day, it's going to show all 3 meals. And the other thing that you can do is you can change your report here, and you can change for the 3 days that you covered. So for example, if I went back 3 days, that would be February, we're in the 4th today. So let's see here, I go back to February 2, 3, and 4. So we'll put February 2nd here. And so I didn't have anything for February 2nd, by the way, but I filled in some information for yesterday. Like I said, I was kind of looking at and playing around with some of these things. So some of these things I did eat, some of them I didn't. I know everyone's probably looking at my my diet here, wondering what I was eating. In fact, I did not have a chocolate chip cookie, but I did have a piece of cake after dinner. There was a birthday celebration, and I'm not going to tell you how much cake I ate. But anyway, like I said, I was just looking at some different items and just added a bunch in there to try to get up to 2,000. I guess I didn't quite make it up to 2,000 for the calories there and all that. But anyway, this is what you're gonna print off, or you're gonna save it. And what you can do to save it is you can hit Control P, and if you take a look here, this is going to print it, and I'm going to save it to PDF, right? And there might be other options to save to PDF, and that's going to save it as a PDF file. So that's kind of part one of what you're going to do, is do that tracking for 3 days. There's one other thing that is going to be helpful for this, and I want you to include. So just going back to this food diary, is this chart right here. So notice this chart here, it is showing some crucial information, right? It's showing your not just your daily goal, but your totals. And and this is part of the worksheet, is you're going to compare these things and discuss them a little bit. So this little chart, I couldn't find a really good way to print this off. So you're going to just have to copy it down, or the other thing you can do is you can do a screen capture. And I'll show you how to do a screen capture. I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint here for a second. A lot of people on their keyboards, in fact, I've never seen a keyboard has a print screen button. So on my desktop keyboard, it looks like this. My laptop keyboard, I think I have to hit the function button and then the print screen button. And then what it does is it takes a snapshot of your entire screen. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go back to this, this page, and I'm going to hit my screen capture button. And then what you can do is, what I'll do is I'll bring up a blank Word document and show you what's going to happen. So here's my blank Word document. So I have, it took a snapshot of it, and I hit paste. And there's my screen captured screen. So I don't want all that other junk. And so what you can do is you can crop it. So if you click on the image, and in Word, if you double click on the image, and if you go over here to the right part of the screen, it says crop, I can hit that crop button. And what I can do is slide these bars. So I'm going to just take out everything that I don't want. You want the graph, that's fine. The graph is not needed. What I want to see is this here. And you'll have to, there we go. I can resize it if I want. And you want them for all 3 days. So in this case here, what I can do is I can put, this is February 4th. There we go. And you're going to include those charts in as part of your diaries. Anyway, if you have any questions about that, let me know. You can always just copy it out by hand or retype it if you want, if that works as well. But I do want those charts as part of your analysis. Somebody's saying on the Macintosh, it's Command-Shift-3. Yeah, there's apps for it. There's all sorts of ways to do it. I find, I like doing it that way, but there are lots of ways to do it. Again, some people are very good at the technology, and some people will just say maybe not as good. All right, so back to my PowerPoint. That's kind of part one, is you're getting all that information, okay? And part two is completing the worksheet. So let me pull up that worksheet. And the worksheet is right here. So this is what the worksheet looks like, okay? So you're going to include your name. All of these boxes are fillable, right? So you can put in your student name, and then this is just a Word document, right? So you can see down here, the very first thing it wants you to do is take those charts that I just asked you to copy, and you need to. I am asking you to do a tiny bit of math in this course. Basically, take an average. So you have 3 days of calorie intake. So one day is 1,900 calories, the next day is 2,100 calories, and the other is 1,700, let's say. I want you to take an average and fill in those averages here. So for calories, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, fiber, and sugar. And then you can fill in those daily goals that are in there and computed by the website, and then you can fill in the difference. And then kind of the analysis, right? Are you within, above, or below? So one of those three words, you can fill that in. So for example, let's say my daily average calories were, let's say I end up with 2,100 calories, and my daily goal was 2,000. So it says here remaining calories or to meet the goal. So in this case here, if you look at the website, it's going to tell me that I don't need any more calories so my remaining calories to meet the goal is actually in a negative, which means that's my surplus. I know it's a little confusing, but I'm trying to be consistent with what we're showing in the website. So the answer in this case is I'm above the recommended ranges, and do that for all of them. And then you can go down, and there's some questions here. So notice there's a box here. Now, if I keep typing into this box, it's going to expand. So just because it's a small box, I do not want you to give me a small answer, okay? So notice I've written here, be thorough, okay? You know what, folks? I don't want the grade 9 or grade 10 answer, okay? You guys are, you're taking a university level course. I expect you to give me a university level answer. So that means proper sentences, those kind of things. Don't give me a novel. But it says here, notice in the comments, expected that you will comment on each of the above nutrients, right? So notice there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So I'm looking for probably a minimum of about 6 sentences here, okay? Kind of talking about what you think is going on or whatever. Or, there's ways to do it more concise. And I'm not going to limit and say you have to have a certain amount or what the minimum or maximum is going to be here. But what I am looking for is a bit of a thoughtful comment here, rather than just some one sentence or one word answers. Okay, so be warned. I haven't decided how many marks each of these questions is worth yet. The whole thing, this worksheet, is worth 4 marks, so 4% of your grade. So I'm going to move on. It's also asking about your energy intake. okay? And there's that online tool, I have it linked here. I showed you that before, maybe I will show it to you again one more time really quickly. So here's the tool. And it's basically asking for your sex, your height, your weight, and your age, and your physical activity. So you can punch all these in. So for example, let's say you are a female and you're 172 centimeters. Let's say you're 60 kilograms and you are 21 years old. And let's say you are, we'll say active. And so it's telling me that your EER is 2,500 calories. So you can fill that in. Just go back to the worksheet. Where's the worksheet? I lost the worksheet. There it is. You can fill that in and then again answer a question about it. The last thing for the worksheet is the micronutrients. So you're going to have to go back to that settings and get that information for these things here: vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, iron, and sodium, and crunch these numbers as well. And then some questions about which ones you exceed and what the role of the body is, and if there's any that you need to eat more of. And then lastly, there's an activity report and asking about your activity diary. And so you can answer some questions about that. Now, I realize 3 days is just a snapshot in your life, and you may have 3 completely inactive days, and that's fine. And you can comment on that and say, these 3 days I didn't get a lot of exercise, but normally I do exercise a lot more, or I'm hoping to increase my exercise, or, this winter sucks. I usually go cross-country skiing every day. And maybe, when the weather warms up, whatever you want, but a thoughtful comment would be nice. I'm almost done. I realize I'm a little bit over time here, but I do want to just finish talking about the assignment here. And okay, so the last thing here, of course, is the critical analysis. So take a look at the instructions. It's basically 2 pages, and I will pull up that assignment right here. Here it is. So part 3, you can see it's saying 750 words maximum. That's about 2 pages. Might be slightly more than 2 pages. And basically I'm looking for a thoughtful discussion here. So I'll call it a critical response, or, whatever you want to call it. So, there's some questions there that are going to guide you through this. You don't necessarily have to answer every single question there, but you should be kind of hitting on some of those main points. Anyway, that is it. Sorry if I've gone a little bit over time. I'm hoping you'll find this assignment to be useful in the long run. I found that when I did this, I've done this a few times over my life, and taking a look at what I'm consuming, it makes me a lot more aware of what I'm doing in terms of my daily habits. And my long-term goal is to make those daily habits good habits, rather and minimize the bad habits, of course. Are there any questions? Okay, well, if there's no questions, I'm going to let you go, and I'm sure there'll be lots of questions over the next 4 weeks. Have a good weekend, have a good Friday, and we'll see everybody next week.